grace that sought me, blood that bought me ere I knew, death that freed me, wounds that healed me, love that brought me back to you. We're gonna have a great show, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with me all the way. Heaven, Son of God, God the Son, holy man and holy God, the Holy One.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
Hi guys. You might have noticed I put on a little weight. It's a new fundraising tool for the ministry. I have a disease, probably a disability, and I can get a monthly check. Come on, it beats working. Don't go away. I've got a lot to say about this. Who's on today? The doctor? Does he like this stuff? This is really good. I could get used to this.
Great Scott! The US dollar has the same trajectory as the meteorite that fell in Russia. One of my graduate students asked me, "What is that trajectory?" And I said, "Down, you blistering idiot! Down! A meteorite falls down!"
Welcome to the program, friend. During the break, I did the liposuction and the bariatric surgery, so you can see I'm thin and trimmed back down to my normal weight. Whew. It was a little scary there for a minute. It was like a bad Family Guy nightmare or something. Anyway, I want to start off by being very careful, and I mean this. There are people, some people who are watching this program, who have true problems with their weight. Some people's problems are glandular. Some people have eating disorders that are connected to trauma that they endured as a child. And I'll let you fill in the blanks. Some of you watching know exactly what I'm talking about. And clearly, America's diet has, and I say that in the epic kind of meta sense, America's diet has been responsible for an enormous amount of people being overweight. So, having said that, I want everyone to know before we go any further that I'm not trying to be unkind to anyone who has a struggle with their weight. And I've struggled with my weight over the years. Recently had to fight to take a bunch off. So, having said that, in case you missed the news, all right, the AMA a couple days ago, the American Medical Association, said that it wants, or that it now classifies obesity as a disease, all right? And coupled with that, the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, this is a division of the federal government, has declared that it believes that obesity is a disability, all right? Now, let the full weight of that sink in, and then we'll start to explore what that means. The AMA, American Medical Association, says obesity is a disease. The EEOC, division of the federal government, says that under the Bush American Disability Act, that it should be, obesity should be classified, and it argues that it is, a disability. Stop. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, says that 35.7% of Americans are obese. Over 1 in 3 Americans right now has the disease of obesity. Over 1 in 3 Americans right now possibly could file for some type of disability claim. You've heard of bariatric surgery, all right, where they actually sew a part of the stomach off or make it so that you can't digest as much food. I have a friend who had that surgery, and it helped him lose 100 pounds. I mean, the surgery works. But the surgery is elective under most insurance programs, okay? If you want to have your stomach sewn off because you have problems with how much you eat, fine. It's expensive, and the bill is going to you. It's not going to your insurance company, at least not anymore. Because by the AMA classifying this as a disease, and with the EEOC classifying it as a disability, the train has left the station, people. Under Obamacare and any other compulsory element of the federal government, what it does and says to insurance companies, people are now going to be able to say, it's just a matter of time, that I need this surgery, and you have to pay for it. I predict that liposuction and other types of surgery that help people to reduce weight are going to become one of the largest elective surgeries in America because so many people are struggling with their weight. Now, I've got to take a quick break. And again, I want to be careful, but when I come back, I want to say a few things because that's what I do. I say things. I pontificate. I make great and grandiose claims based upon nothing except my own wisdom. And I do that because I want to be like Barry Obama. And that is what bariatric surgery is. Didn't you know that? Become like Barry. Bariatrics. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Welcome back to the program, friend. Again, with my disclaimer of kindness, I am not in any manner, shape, or form trying to be unkind with the 35.7% of us that struggle with our weight and that have been called obese, designated as obese by the Center for Disease Controls. But the simple fact of the matter is that the AMA has decreed, with a vote of its ruling board, that obesity is a disease. All right. And the EEOC is arguing that it is also a disability. So I just want to say this. Follow the money. Follow the money. The CDC or the AMA estimates that the costs associated with obesity are about $535 billion a year. And that's just the bill at McDonald's and Wendy's. Boom. Come on, that was funny. All right. I wish that I had a laugh track. And all the studio audience is like, you can laugh out loud. I mean, come on, that was funny. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Exercise, watching what we eat, not eating processed foods, not eating deep fried foods, moderation. I mean, do we have to go down the list? I'm gonna confess something to you. I have in my home, my family has an elliptical trainer. You know what an elliptical trainer is? Put one up on the screen, would you? It's got the thing that you pull with your arms, you see that there, and it's got the thing you move with your feet. And they're phenomenal to get a good heart rate up and to help your cardiovascular system stay in shape and burn calories and lose weight and you feel better and blah, blah, blah. You know what we use the thing for? A laundry hanger, a place to hang stuff. I hate the thing, I hate it. Let me say it with kindness in my voice. I hate it. I do. I hate having to get on it, but I do get on it, all right? It's not fun. It's a lot more fun to watch Seinfeld reruns or even fun to watch this program doing what we call air checks in the industry. But the simple fact of the matter is that exercise and watching the food that we eat is something that we have to do. And I guess I really don't even have anything else much more to say about this, except follow the money. Watch a whole new line of drugs to come out for weight loss. Now people can go to the doctor repeatedly for obesity issues involving diet. The AMA said we want people to be able to go to dietitians and have their insurance companies pick it up. We're gonna have to pay for the surgery involving closing off people's stomachs and anything else that gets developed. It's going to open up a whole new genre of money streams into the pharmaceuticals, into the people of the AMA we call doctors. And who's going to pay for it? Let me guess. The 2/3 of the American public that are not legally qualified as obese. And so I think I know where this is headed. Eat more, exercise less, because there's a pot of gold waiting for you at the end of that gluttony. Thank you, Uncle Sam. I'll be right back, talk about the Associated Press and who there is overweight and whose phones are being tapped because they're involved in the obesity problem in America. Yeah, Big Brother's got his eye on you. Get your hand out of that bag of French fries, you wicked sinner. Oh, no, wait, you're not wicked. You're just disabled. Come here, I've got money for you. Come on. My wife and I, for 5 years, have been grinding our own wheat and baking our own bread from scratch. Within 2 hours, you can have fresh wheat in your hand and then piping hot bread come out of the oven. The most nutritious and delicious bread you will ever have. And we do it for under $1 a loaf. Call Paula's Bread and find out about this grain mill and the mixer and how it can save you money and change your life. Welcome back, friend. What a difference 5 years makes. When President Obama was in Germany 5 years ago as a candidate, I must say, he had a crowd of 195,000 people, screaming throngs, crying out his praises. And in this recent trip, there was an invitation-only event that he spoke at behind very large 2-inch pieces of glass, bulletproof glass. 6,000 people were invited. Only 4,500 showed up. 25% of the people invited to see the militarily most powerful man in the world, most politically influential man in the world, except for maybe the Pope, could be argued. 25% said, not interested. You're probably collecting my cyber data, you and your NSA spies. What a difference time makes. Speaking of NSA spies, the Associated Press continues to put pressure on the Obama administration, saying, look, you had 100 of our journalists under surveillance. What's going on? Associated Press is now reporting that their sources have dried up. Now, in case, have you ever heard this phrase, the fourth branch of government? You ever heard the phrase, the fourth branch of government? It's not true, there is no fourth branch of government, but it refers to the press, a free press. In other words, three branches are executive, legislative, judicial. The fourth branch is a free press who asks questions, who has sources that can keep the government from doing what it wants when government gets out of control. A free press is essential to liberty. That's one of the reasons that the Bill of Rights has a free press in the First Amendment, okay? Well, the Obama administration is, at least in part, waging what has become an open war on journalism, and the Associated Press is saying our sources have dried up. And what our sources drying up means is that people who used to come to us and say, hey, this is what's going on, they won't take our phone calls. They won't call us. People who used to meet with us at a sidewalk cafe and talk a little bit, they won't meet with us because the people who have been giving information to these journalists are afraid of prosecution. Journalists are afraid of prosecution, but way more importantly, their sources are afraid of prosecution. And this may have been the end game all along. I want you to think about that. When Eric, I don't know Holder, or Eric, I can't remember Holder, our Attorney General, was willy-nilly giving permission for phone records to be seized from journalists, what he may very well have been after was simply to scare the sources inside the government into silence. And now whether that was their intention or not, I'm sure that there are a lot of people in the White House high-fiving each other because that's what's happened. And if we don't have a free press, I mean, just step back the clock a little bit. Can you imagine if the press had not been allowed to cover, say, Watergate? Or if the press had not been able to cover this horrific spying apparatus that has been built against us? At that point, we're not that much better off than some of the citizens who live under the iron heel of tyrants in other countries where they don't have a free press. Because free and open and contentious and divisive dialogue and arguments and debate are part of what we have so that we don't have open war. Always remember that, ladies and gentlemen. The reason that we have elections is because we don't have to shoot people and imprison people and exile people and torment and torture people, all right? Elections are war by another means. And central to free and open elections is the word open, where you have a free press and we can actually debate what's going on. I've got to take a quick break. The Russians are calling, and so are some other countries, for an off switch to the internet. Now that's a weird twist on freedom, like flip the switch and the whole communications internet world shuts down in a given country. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. Hi, friend, I'm Randall Terry. George Washington said, "Of all the dispositions which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports." Welcome back to the program, friend. This just in, and we'll probably talk about it more as we go forward, but the Supreme Court has struck down a law that says if you are receiving taxpayer money in the fight against AIDS in, say, Africa or Asia, that you do not have to sign an anti-prostitution pledge or an anti-sex trafficking pledge. Or let me say it in the positive. Up until now, if you were an organization that was receiving government money, our money, you had to say, we want to eradicate sex trafficking and prostitution because they spread AIDS. So we're fighting AIDS, all right, fighting HIV, and we stand against prostitution and sex trafficking because they are among the highest means by which AIDS is transmitted. The Supreme Court struck it down and said that it violates the free speech of the organizations. Justices Scalia and Thomas, it was a 6-2 decision, by the way. Justice Scalia said that the pledge is nothing more than a means of selecting suitable agents to implement the government's chosen strategy to eradicate HIV/AIDS. That is perfectly permissible under the Constitution. Elena Kagan, by the way, did not participate in it, probably because she worked on it when she was at the White House. So in any event, the beautiful irony of this, once again, is that our tax money goes to fight AIDS, and now these organizations can say, but prostitution and sex trafficking are okay. We know that you're spreading AIDS, and we know that we're trying to stop AIDS, but you've got to make it living, don't you? All right, I want to switch gears for just a minute. There really and truly is a lot of bad news. And I want to say two things. Number one, as much time as you can, you need to spend away from the television, away from the computer, away from your portable iPhone device, whatever it is, and be present to your family, to your children, to your spouse. Look at the things that matter and that will matter for time and eternity, okay? And then ask yourself, how much time am I focused and present to those things? I've watched good people get weighed down and distracted and agitated and becoming very anxious and nervous because there is so much bad news. And there really is. You know, with our 24-hour news services always looking for bad news to bring our way, what used to be a local story of some horrific crime now becomes a headline on Fox TV or CNN. Spend time on the things that will matter for time and eternity, okay? Your babies, your grandbabies, your prayer life, time fellowshipping and laughing with your kids. And then number two, look at the means by which you can help bring this country back, all right? We offer books, tapes, and videos that are predominantly, almost exclusively, but predominantly created to help you to become a force for righteousness and justice in your community, in your church, in your state, in the nation. Many of us have been so debilitated, disemboweled by the government education process, by the hopeless sense that there's nothing we can do, it's just too big, it's too monstrous, it's too overwhelming. We've been so disemboweled by this that we just sit there and watch it all happen. Don't do that. Stand for what's just. Stand for what's right. Learn. Take advantage of some of the materials that we have or other good items that other people make. But at the end of the day, if this country dies, which it appears to be doing, it's going to be due to our neglect. Not because the wicked were stronger and smarter than us, but because they fought and we didn't. God bless you.